What up, JP Nation? This your boy JP. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to my channel where we do basketball reaction videos and other content. Make sure you subscribe. This is JP. If you love the game of basketball like I do, click the notification bell. You know where our next upload is. On the road to 40K. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be reacting to another Prime Larry Bird video, the best Larry Bird underdog story ever told. This one with the thumbnail of Dr. J. So I'm very intrigued if they're going to talk about the fight between Dr. J and Larry Bird, or the Eastern Conference Finals from 1981. I'm very intrigued because they face each other in 4 Eastern Conference Finals, Dr. J and Larry Bird. So I'm very intrigued to see about this story, though, because there's so many Larry Bird stories I really enjoy listening to each and every one of them. I haven't heard this one yet, so I'm very excited to tune in. Definitely let me know what you want me to react to next in terms of Larry Bird. Or any other players, so just let me know in the comments. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Make sure you rack up the likes too as well.
What if I told you that once upon a time there was a rivalry in the 80s even bigger than Celtics versus Lakers?
Oh yeah,
and even more intense than Celtics versus Pistons.
Philly and
I bet you wouldn't believe me.
Philly and
but for
Celtics.
3 years in a row, the Eastern Conference Finals was a dogfight between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers.
They did not like each other.
Long before Celtics Lakers, it was the Celtics Sixers.
One of the most intense rivalries ever. You see Mark Iavaroni and Larry Bird go at it in this game. Larry actually got to be thrown out as he decided he was going to get his licks in before he left.
In terms of two clubs in professional sports and professional team sports really wanting one another and going after one another's throats, this is definitely the ultimate.
Here's Dr. J trying to hold Bird. Bird retaliates and and look at him hitting Bird as he's being held from behind by Barkley and Moses Malone.
There's no greater time in basketball that I've ever had other than going out and beating the 76ers.
And in the 1981 Eastern Conference Finals, they had a battle for the ages in what many experts have called the greatest playoff series of all time.
It was the greatest series I've ever played in my opinion, maybe the greatest series leading up to a championship that two teams ever had to play.
Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics were facing the MVP of the league, Dr. J, and the Philadelphia 76ers, the team with the best record in the league. And to make matters worse, Boston had not won a single game in Philadelphia in almost 3 years because the 76ers were stacked with a team full of Hall of Famers.
Well, start out with the Hall of Famers they had over there. Start out with Dr. J, Bobby Jones. Maurice Cheeks was starting guard, became a Hall of Famer. Caldwell Jones, the Boston Strangler, Andrew Toney, Daryl Dawkins. Daryl Dawkins was like Shaq.
Yep,
you know, just strong and big, and they were coached well by Billy Cunningham. That's why they were so tough.
Just 1 year earlier, a rookie Larry Bird led the Boston Celtics to the greatest single-season turnaround in NBA history. One man took the second worst team in the league from 29 wins to a 62-win championship contender.
Nobody haven't done it since.
Unfortunately, the Celtics lost in the conference finals to this same Philadelphia 76ers team, sparking a rivalry that would have them battling for Eastern Conference supremacy for the next 6 years. And the following season, it was looking like deja vu all over again.
So in 81, we win the first game up in Boston. Then you guys come back and win game 2.
Irving putting the moves on McHale.
Then we play a really tight game down there in Philly, and we lose.
Philadelphia has been magnificent, and that game is over.
We lose game 4, and I'm like, ooh, this isn't good.
6 seconds to go. Boston doesn't call time. Archibald intercepted by Bobby Jones, and the game is over.
It's a tight one-possession game, and Bobby Jones does what he does, makes a great defensive play. That allows you guys to win game 4 and go up 3-1.
The dreaded 3-1 deficit. In the history of the entire NBA, teams that go up 3-1 in a best-of-7 series are 258-13. That's a winning percentage of 95.2%.
Wow.
So the chances of Larry Bird and the Celtics coming back to win this series was at 4.8%.
Slim.
And for teams that go down 3-1 and win the championship, their chances drop down to 1.5%.
Slim.
So at this point, to say that Larry Bird was an underdog is an understatement.
I wasn't the type of guy to take stuff for granted. 3-1, I mean, it felt good. but it was by no means a foregone conclusion.
A desperate situation for the Celtics. Game number 5 of this Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics must win 3 straight.
In Game 5, the Celtics were losing by 10 points, with only 6 minutes left in the game. And with the season on the line, Larry Bird took matters into his own hands.
Larry going to work offensively. One-hander baseline. An off-balance play by Larry Bird, who does every aspect. And McHale, they go with their starters. And Larry Bird on a turnaround hits the jump shot. Andrew Tony's shot, no good. Bird the rebound. He's taking matters into his own hands, Kevin. McHale, though, with the offensive rebound. He misses. Bird, he's got it. Pointed out Caldwell Jones in there. Going to the hoop. Bird, he cannot be denied. Larry Bird.
He is putting them on his back.
This clutch bucket was the last field goal of the game. Some defensive stops and a couple free throws later, the Celtics won Game 5 by only 2 points.
Wow.
All right, here it is. 1 second. Boston up by 2. Trying to go to Philly for Game 6. Intercepted. The Boston Celtics, who are down by 6 points with 1:28 to go.
Incredible performance by the Bulls.
Final crucial moments and did it when they had to do it.
And going to Boston, losing the next game, you know, you had one to play with, but, you know, coming into Philly, it's like, man, you have to feel good coming home.
Oh, yeah.
Coming down to your place, I remember this is it. I mean, you know, Game 6, we're going back to Philly.
Oh, I don't think my having this rivalry. I think it's one of the best rivalries in sports. You know, you go out there and you compete, and you know, you got to play so well to win it. You know, it demands a lot out of you. And when the series is over, I think both teams can look back and say, hey, we gave it our best shot.
They know that they haven't won in 10 tries here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, and that's why they want to go back to Boston, winning this afternoon.
We got into a dogfight. Back and forth.
Back and forth,
Back
exactly.
and forth.
The Celtics trying to break a jinx here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. They need to do it to force Game 7.
By the second half of Game 6, the Celtics were losing by as much as 17 points. But more Larry Bird heroics turned this game into one of the greatest playoff games in NBA history. Because Boston stormed back and were willing to fight anyone that stepped in their way, even if you were just a fan in the crowd.
Harris with a turnaround in the lane. No good. Maxwell, Dawkins going in and out.
Oh! Ho, ho, ho!
Goes after a fan. Maxwell goes after a fan. And there's Lebron in the stands.
Oh!
Over there. Someone said something to Maxwell, and he went in with a vengeance.
I got knocked into the crowd, and when I got knocked into the crowd, some guy like was saying something to me like, "Get back in the damn game." So I jumped over the photographer, and then it registered in my mind what he had said. As soon as he said that, I re-jumped back over and went into the stands with a flying forearm. At that time, it galvanized all our players together. It could have been all these people against us, and we were going to go down together. And at that particular point, the great Dave Zinkoff, who was the public address announcer for Philadelphia, comes on. We were down by 17 and says to the crowd, "Tickets go on sale for the championship game right after this." Oh my God! Everybody looked at each other and went, "Are you kidding me? This guy already said that." And then it was on like popcorn. Then we were down 17, almost before half. By the time we had our foot square in their behind after they were doing the celebration, we were down by only 5 points.
McHale, Bird, Maxwell, ML Carr, and Archibald. Looping shot by Larry Bird. 23 points for Larry Bird, and the Celtics lead 84-83.
As Larry Bird leads the comeback with 25 points, 16 rebounds, and 4 assists, he once again hits the last clutch bucket of the game.
Bird out to Tiny with 8 seconds on the shot clock. Bobby Jones is on a defensive switch. Holland.
Pump fake. Wow.
This shot put the Celtics up by 3 points. One defensive stop and a pair of free throws later helps Boston finally win a game in Philadelphia, something they hadn't done in nearly 3 years.
Dawkins and Caldwell Jones, and that'll do it. The game is over. Boston has won. Only 3 teams have come back from a 3-1 deficit to force a 7th and win a 7th game. And the first time in 12 games, the Boston Celtics have defeated
Philly be up, and then
76ers.
Boston just makes a
After
whole
that game,
comeback.
Kevin McHale called what happened next his most favorite moment of his entire career.
Kevin McHale, what is your favorite NBA moment? Ooh. I would say 81, Game 6. We were in Philly, and we were down 3-1, and we won Game 5 in Boston to go 3-2. And we beat them on a last-second play where Tony's driving in, and we get a block, I got my hand on the ball, and we win the game. And go back to Boston, and there's people like there's the like I didn't realize that, because I'm new to Boston. It's my first year being out there. I come from northern Minnesota, small mining town, played at the University of Minnesota. I didn't realize that Boston and Philadelphia hated each other sports-wise. I mean, hated each other. So we get back that night, and there's people. There's a crowd. I mean, there's people at the airport. And this game, we haven't won anything. We still have Game 7 to go. And they were the whole city was like electric. And then Game 7 in the arena, when I walked in, I got chills because the people were all standing up cheering. 18 minutes before the game, we went out to warm up. There wasn't an empty seat, and they stood the whole game.
Wow.
And cheered and yelled and screamed. No dancing girls, no nothing. An organ going, and it was the most unbelievable environment you've ever seen. The building shook.
I was at that game. I was at all those games. And Game 7, to this day, is the best basketball game I've ever been to. That was the only game I've been to, I've written about this, where the refs were just like, guys, you settle this. Guys are on the floor every play. There's 3 guys getting knocked down. It was like a rugby match. And I've just never seen a game like that. I don't think that game would happen again. There would have been about 20 flagrant fouls.
The Philadelphia 76ers, they have to be wondering about the fact that they had the Celtics put away.
Yep.
And all the Celtics wanted to do was win one at a time. Red Auerbach told me before the game, Kevin, it's not so much saying you got to win 3 games, but to tell your team they have to beat us one more time.
That was the championship game. Whoever won that series between Philly and Boston, and Philly being up 3-1, and you getting them back to Boston for Game 7, whoever won that particular night, we knew that either one of those teams, Philly or Boston, could beat Houston. So that was the championship game that particular night.
Chris Moore, this is from the corner. Larry Bird, the rebound.
Woo! Pump fake.
That's what Boston has done to Philadelphia, dominate the offensive.
His pump fake was so good.
Knowing that Dawkins will leave it to him, but misses. But Larry Bird, another offensive rebound. The next time. Tiny to Ford. Larry Bird, 3-point play. If anything can ignite a crowd and ignite a team, a 3-point play by their best player is the safest way to do it.
And just like the previous 4 games, Game 7 went down to the wire. And with the tie game, with 1 minute left on the clock, Larry Bird does what Larry Bird did the entire series in the clutch.
Irving setting up for something. Fakes. Low into Dawkins. Double team. Dawkins goes in. Misses. Here comes Bird out of the pack.
Bird's coming to the left. Stop and pop off the glass.
Woo!
Boston leads.
Clutch.
91-89. 1 second left. And the pass hits the top of the backboard. And it's over. They came from 3 of 1 now. And they have won the series. It's all over. It's all over. This place is a madhouse.
This game-winning jump shot
Clutch.
helped Larry Bird versus a team with 3 Hall of Famers on their roster pull off the greatest 3-1 comeback of all time. Because the 1981 Eastern Conference Finals remains the only series in NBA history in which 5 games were decided by 2 points or less.
Wow.
The Celtics won Game 5 by 2 points, Game 6 by 2 points, and Game 7 by 1 point.
Wow.
Each game literally went down to the last second. Now that is the definition of clutch.
Because we
Yes.
did win a lot of 1-2 point games. It just seemed like every time you look up the clock, we had a 1 point lead, and there's 1 second on the clock, and they had the ball. It was them type of games where all the emotion, all the adrenaline, and everybody was just flowing, and everything was just going to perfection at the end of the game. That was probably the best games I ever played in my life. It was a 7-game series, and every one of them was just full of excitement.
Only 4 teams in the history of the NBA have ever come back from down 3-1 in a series and went on to win the championship. Bill Russell's Boston Celtics in 1968, Hakeem Olajuwon's Houston Rockets in 1995, LeBron James's Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016, and Larry Bird's Boston Celtics in 1981. Yes, Larry Bird, in only his second NBA season, won his first championship that year. So if anybody ever tries to convince you that a great player couldn't win a title in his first 5 years because he was too young or didn't have enough help, tell them that Larry Bird took the second worst team in the league to an NBA title in only 2 years. No excuses.
That was amazing. Just being the underdog and being down 3-1 and being able to win 4 straight. 3 straight. It's just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. That 81 Eastern Conference Finals, everybody been saying that it's like the best Eastern Conference, or even the best playoff series of all time, just because of just the story it told and how great, the Philadelphia 76ers were with Dr. J being the MVP. Bobby Jones was just a fantastic defensive player, 6th man of the year. Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Toney, very underrated. Caldwell Jones, they had a really good, Daryl Dawkins, they had a really good team. And then going up against Boston and Larry Bird's second year, Kevin McHale's rookie year, Robert Parrish, and then you had Conrad Maxwell, M.L. Carr, Tiny Archibald. That was a great team too. And then, they just went at it though. And, those 3 games, Boston winning by 1 or 2 points. That's just amazing. That's just crazy. And Larry Bird's heroics, only in the second year in the league, in those games, it's just phenomenal. Just one of the greatest clutch players of all time. And, we just can't get enough Larry Bird, with these stories, though. That was just awesome. That was just awesome just to listen to, and then just having the beginnings to, the climax, and then to the phenomenal ending. So shout out to Prime Larry Bird for the video. Let me know what you want me to react to next. Make sure you subscribe to JP down below for more basketball content, basketball reaction videos. Click the notification bell. You know where our next upload is. Make sure you rack up the likes too as well. I'm JP, and we out of here. Peace.